I bought the cheapest Dust Cyclone I could find on the web to see if it would really work. Did it? Let's find out. Okay, this cyclone is pretty tiny. The input and output ports measure around 27mm and the body is only about 80mm wide. By comparison, my bigger cyclones are 150mm wide with ports of 37mm. I think this cost about $10 Australian, and when it arrived I thought it's just too small to be effective, so I set it to one side. But recently I moved the cyclone I was using with this shop vacuum to my Festool Capex, and so it was time to make an extra one. A cheap bucket and lid from the big box store, and the project was ready to go. First though, I needed a way to attach the hoses. I normally use grey water adapters to connect vac hoses, so to do that we need to put 37mm fittings onto 27mm spigots. 3D printing to the rescue. A few minutes in CAD and a couple of hours of printing and the adapters were done. Next I used a hole saw to cut an entry hole of 80mm in the middle of the lid. The cyclone fit in neatly, but it was evident that the incoming hose would not sit correctly if the cyclone was simply attached to the lid. Back to the CAD program and a few hours of printing, and I had a riser for the outside of the lid and a stiffener for the inside. I used some tape as an aid to mark out the mounting holes, went to the drill press and then mounted the two parts using 4mm hardware. At this stage I didn't use any supplementary sealant, as I was unsure if this was going to be a giant failure. A little while later and I was ready for the first test run. And here is the result. Nothing scientific, but hey, there is dust and other bits and pieces in the bottom of the bin. And I was only just cleaning up the benches and a small area around the floor under the vise, so not a lot to pick up in any case. What about some next steps? Well, a couple come to mind. Clearly the lid and adapters need to be sealed off to ensure efficient operation. Also, I think the outlet hose needs some mechanical support. I don't want to modify that hose, as the shop vac can and has been used as a wet vac, so I want to be able to keep that ready to go in an emergency. And if you really wanted to get carried away, you could mount more of these cyclones to the lid, print up a manifold and make it a multi-cyclone unit, like many of the domestic vacuums you see. I have links below to the cyclone, hose adapters and the mounting spaces if you want to make one of your own. Thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it and let me know what you think. Catch you all soon.